So good morning all.
Good morning.
Good morning. So can you just tell me what we have done in the last class? What topic?
Oh,
Yeah?
some problem.
Pardon?
We discuss some problems.
Problems, isn't it? We have discussed some programs regarding read and write function, isn't it? So one more mode is there. Which is the third mode? Which is the third mode?
Append.
Append. So what is the meaning of append? To add
Add.
to. Yeah. Yes? Yes, Gauri?
Adding.
Yeah, to add to, isn't it? To add extra information to a particular data. So let's have a look. Let's discuss regarding that. So now, today we are going to discuss a last topic of mode, that is appending a file. So what is that? What is the meaning of appending a file? It means to add to. It means to add to. Can note these important points. What is the meaning of that? So if we want to add more data to a file, what will happen? It will already, if we want to add a data to an existing file which is already having a set of data, so what about our new data? Will old data will be erased when we append?
No, ma'am.
No. Then what will happen?
We join.
So if we want to add more data, if we want to add more data to a file, if we want to add more data to a file which already has some data on it, so what is the meaning of that? It means we will be appending that particular data. So basically what is the meaning of appending? To add to. Okay, and if we want to add more data to a file which already has some data on it, which means that we will be appending data, isn't it? So appending means to add to. So data which were previously stored will not be erased. So if we want to add more data to an existing file, we will be using which mode? Append mode. So for append mode, we will be using A. So as you all know that this is the mode for appending, isn't it? So this is the third mode which will help us to add more data to an existing file, which means that a file can be opened for writing, and if it exists, then append data to the end of the file, isn't it? If we add a particular data to an existing file, so the newly added data will be added to the end of a file, isn't it? Yes, if a particular file is having a set of information, along with that our new data will be appended, or which means that added. So where it will be added, in which position? At the end of a file. Where? To the end of the file, to the end of a particular file. Is that clear?
No, ma'am.
Not clear?
Can you explain the last thing again?
Which means that if we want to add, if we are adding a particular means more data to a particular file which has been already exists, which means that that file is having a set of datas, and if you want to add more data into that particular file, it will be added where? At the end of that particular file, after that datas. Okay. So when we want to append a particular data to an existing file, the data will be stored at the end of a file, not at the beginning, at the end, after the particular set of data. After that it will be added. For example, if my file is having Reshma, okay, if I want to add R, and it will be added where? After this data, isn't it? Which means that end of the file. So in Python we can use A mode, which means that append mode, to open an output file in appending mode or in append mode. So A stands for append mode. Which means that if the file already exists, it will be erased if you want to append a particular data? If a set of particular file is already existing, if we want to add a particular data onto that file, will the previous data will be erased?
No.
No. So there are some set of rules, not rules, for in appending mode. In append mode, which means that first thing is that if the file already exists, it will not be erased, isn't it? It will not be erased, right? And if the file doesn't exist, what will happen? What will happen if the file doesn't exist? What will happen? Yeah, can you just repeat?
Will a new one be created?
It will create a new file. Okay, is that clear? So it will be created. So if the file already exists, it will not, means the previous data will not be erased. And if the file doesn't exist, what will happen? It will create a new file in the case of this append mode. And third thing, when data is written to the file, when data is written to the file, what will happen? If we add some more data to a particular file, what will happen? It will be written at what, in which position?
End.
Yes, it will be written at the end of the file's current contents. Okay, these are some important points regarding our append mode. So if the file already exists, it will not be erased, and if the file doesn't exist, what will happen? It will be created, or it will create a new file, isn't it? And when data is written to a file using this mode, what will happen? It will be written at the end of the file's current contents. Is that clear about this appending? Is it clear for you about the append mode? Any doubts regarding this? I hope it is over. So we are just moving to some set of programs related to this. Okay, ready? You have to write the program. So I will be displaying set of programs. Please try to write that. Yeah. Create a file to hold some data. First one, create a file to hold some data. Create a file to hold some data. You have to create a file to hold some data. So I hope it is clear. Is it okay with you? I'm going to input 5 names. Can you say it properly? Should I overwrite it?
No.
Okay, so first we have opened that file, isn't it? Yeah. After that, we have used for loop. For I in, you know, you have learned for loop, isn't it? Yes? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you know 5 means 5 datas will be printed, isn't it? For I in range 5, range means it is showing the range. So we have to input 5 names and it will be written on that particular file. Which mode we have opened? What is the name of the file? Student, isn't it? Which mode we are using?
Right.
Write mode, which means that whatever names we input, whatever 5 names we enter will be written on that particular file, and we have to close that file. Please try, note down this. So first we have to open that file, and which is the file object here or file handle here? What is the name? File out. So first statement is that file out is equal to open. Then you have to mention a particular name of a file. Then we are going to input, isn't it? We have to write. That is why we have used which mode? Write mode. After that we have to input not 1 data, we have to input 5 datas. So for that we have used which loop? For loop. For I in range 5. Don't forget to put the colon. After that we have to input the name, isn't it? So name, I have just used a variable called name is equal to input. Enter name, which, what is the meaning of this input enter name? Which means that it will show the message, isn't it? We have to input the name, whatever we type, whatever data we type, it will be stored in which variable? Name. After that it will be written to which file? Student. At last we have to close this file, isn't it? Yes? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Completed? Completed?
Yes, ma'am.
So what can be the output? What can be the output? Here you can see. It will be displayed like this. I have entered 5 names. If you want, you can note down the output so that it will give you a clear image regarding this program. Yeah. So this is the output. This is how we have to enter the data. So enter name, this message will be shown 5 times, and by saying this message we will get to know that we have to enter a name, a particular name. Okay. So I have entered 5 name. After that when we try to open that file, it will be like this. So first you just write any 5 names. You just write any 5 names. And when you try to open that file in which we have wrote this, which means that what is the name of that particular file? Which is that text file? Which is that file? What is the name of that file? What is the name of that file? Student, isn't it? Yes? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So how, if you try to open that particular file, output will be like this. In a single line, we will get all the output. There will be no space between each name. Okay? So please note down this. When you open that file, it will be like this. Any doubt regarding this program? Any doubt regarding this program? Any doubt?
No.
Okay, which means that you are ready to write this program. Yeah. You have to just change a particular, you have to just add a particular statement there. This is your second program. Write the question first. After that, you have to write the program. I will be calling you.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
separated as lines means?
Lines. You have seen that all the data that we have inputted is been on is been stored in that particular file in one line, isn't it? But we
Those
want
different lines.
we want that data in different lines, which means that first name in the first line, second name in the second line, like that. So how? Same program. You have to just add one statement, simple one. Don't go for any other functions and all. Just one statement for the next line. Don't make it too complicated. Just simple statement. You have to add a simple statement. If it is over, let me know. Which means that when you open that particular file, name should be in different lines, not in the same line. First name in the first line, second name in the second line, like that. Aditya, over? Aditya? Atul, over?
Yes, ma'am.
Srihari?
Yes,
Complete.
ma'am.
Okay. So, Atul, tell me, what can be the statement?
Right lines.
Right lines. What is the use of that? Yes. I told you don't make that program complicated. See the statement? I have just used one statement, slash n. That is enough, right? Yes?
Ma'am,
Yeah.
can we use the slash and with the name?
Yeah.
And I wrote slash and after enter name.
After, no, if you write like that, no, you will be entering the message, you will be not entering that message in the same line, which means that you have seen the output enter name, after that we can enter. If you put that /n, we can enter that particular name on the next line. Not it is only applicable when you are typing, when you are trying to enter the data. We want the change in our file, so we have to put /n. If we are using write lines, no, first we have to make it as list, then we have to use that write line function. So it will be little bit complicated. So if any program comes like this, which means that you have to in your file, when you open that, every answer should be in a particular line, then you have to simply use /n, that is enough. Okay, after name you have to put /n. Is that clear? /n is familiar to you. What is the use of that? If you want to move our particular data to a next line, what will we be using? Which character we will be using? /n. So the output will be like this. We will be entering the file names like this, and the output will be like this in our file. Okay? Now, write a file with some names separated by new line characters without using write function. So what will be the change? If it is over, let me know. Without using write function. Note that point. Over. Any idea? Is it over? Yeah? Is it over? Did you get any idea? Yeah, look here. What was the question? We have to create a file with some name separated by new line character without using write function. New line. So, same program. We have inputter, means a message will be shown, enter name. After that, you know that when we are using write lines, we have to what we have to do? We have to use it as a list, isn't it? And one more thing is that in the first program, those who have written write lines, see, when you want to write something into a particular file in a new line, which means that one line after another, you have to use slash n. This write lines will not add slash n. We have to give that. Okay, so this is a program in which it is an alternative method for write. So if you want to add like this, if you want to use this write lines function instead of write function, the program will be like this. First you have to mention the list. First you have to declare the list. After that we have used the for loop. Then we were asked to write the data into a particular file, not using write function, using write lines function. So this is the change regarding the write lines function. Okay. If you want to append data, which function you will use? Append, isn't it? Which mode? Append. So here list.append means that it will add the newly entered data to that particular existing file. For the next line we will be using slash n, and after that we have used that file handle dot write lines, and we have called that list, because this write line method works with list, isn't it? So note the important point. Write lines method doesn't add any end of line character. We have to do it ourselves when we are trying to enter a particular set of data to a file. Okay, this is a program related to this. So first we have to open that file if we want to append. This is the statement. So if you want to work with more than one variable or one data, we will be using loops. Here I have used for loop for I in range 5, then name is equal to input. This is the message, and that list, the particular data has been appended with that existing file. At last you have to close that. Every program, at the end of every program, you have to close that file. Don't forget about this. So write lines method doesn't add an end of line character to the end of string. We have to mention that. Okay, that is why we have used here slash n. So please note that point. If you want to write a particular data using write lines, then you have to use slash n. You have to mention it. First you have to create a list, then you have to put slash n. So slash n stands for end of line, which will help your data to enter to the next line. Plus, what is the use of that plus? Append, right? String. I think you have learned, ma'am have I think taught you about this plus. Plus stands for append. Okay, for string. Yeah. Now try this. Look at the screen. Try this program. Write a program to get roll numbers, names and marks of the students of a class and store these details in a file called mark.txt, which means that you have to input, you have to write the roll number, name and the mark of that student of a class, of the students of a class, and you have to store these details in which file? In mark.txt, which means that text file. So what can be the program? Try. So first you have to write a program. You have to write a program to get the roll numbers, names and marks of the students of a class and store these details in file called mark.txt. So you have to enter roll number, name, mark of a particular student. Then you have to store that data to a file called marks.txt. Fourth question, write a program to get roll numbers, names and marks of the students of a class and store these details in a file called mark.txt. So first you have to open that file. Then what can be the statements? Yeah. First you have to open that file in writing mode, in write mode. Then you have to use the loop, isn't it? Before that you have to enter particular information, which means that how many students, isn't it? Look at the screen. I have used a variable called count, in which first question to me will be that how many students. I have to input the number, isn't it? So it will be number. We have to use int, isn't it? You know the reason why we have used int, and we have opened a file in write mode. Then I have used the loop, so range, inside range count will come because that is the limit. Then we have to enter, we have to input roll number, name, then mark. After that we have to append that, isn't it? Then we have to write that to the particular file. Then we have to close. This is the simple program regarding this. After writing this only you have to look at the board. First you try, after that you can compare. Try to understand. First you have to enter the limit. So that limit has been stored in which variable? Count. And you know why we have used int? Because by default it will store string, so we want integer type, isn't it? That is why we have used int. So first I have written a message how many students are there in the class. First I have to enter the limit. Then I use the loop, for loop, for entering the details of each student. Then I have inputted the roll number, name, marks. After that I have appended it. Plus means append, and comma, it is a string, isn't it? After that I have wrote the particular data into the file. Which file? Marks, that is the name of the file. After that I have closed the file. So this is the program. For appending, you know that we want string, so that is why before roll number and marks we have used str. Name is already in the format of string, isn't it? That is why we have not used str in the front of, we have not used in name. But roll number and marks has been inputted in the form of int and float. That is why we have used str. Okay. So at last don't forget to write /n, because we want the data of the next student in the next line, not along with that particular data of the first student. So don't forget to put this. So this is the program where you want to, in which first you have to enter the limit, then using the for loop. Whenever you get a program regarding a set of datas, you have to use the loop. You know that what is the importance of loop, isn't it? So first we have entered the roll number, then mark, then name, then we have appended it. I will show you the output, then your doubts will be clear if you have any doubt regarding this program. At last, don't forget to close that particular file. At last, don't forget to close that particular file. Please do write. So first count, it is a variable which stores the limit of that file. Then using the for loop, we have entered the details of a particular student. So what are the details? Roll number, name and marks. Is it over? Is it over? Because I want to show you the output. Is it over?
Yes, ma'am.
So see, this is the output. Means I have entered the details. So first it will show how many students are there in the class. I have entered the limit as 3. Then I have entered the data of each student, isn't it? Okay. After that, when you open that particular file, you can see like this. Now you know what is the importance of why I have put there comma, isn't it? To get this output, to get output like this. Just compare this line with that program. Why this came? Because the last statement, isn't it? See, rec is equal to, after plus I have put comma. That is why the output is like this. Clear? First one is roll number,
Can you show the
then name.
previous
Yes, dear.
slide?
Yes, dear.
Can you show the previous slide?
This one.
Yes.
Okay. You just enter any 3 details regarding a particular student, and when you open that file, it will be like that. I have used there I plus 1, that is why enter details 1 below, 2 below, 3 below, it came like that. Okay. Is it over? Over? Thank you.